Hi, I'm Gareth Payne, and welcome to the Net Zero Business Podcast. I often worry that the pod can be a bit too Eurocentric, so today I'm delighted to welcome Maureen Vere, Managing Director of Verager, which specialises in climate-friendly agriculture and supporting women farmers in Zimbabwe. So welcome to the podcast, Maureen.
Thank you so much, Gareth. And thank you for having me here. And it's a great honor.
It's my pleasure. The pleasure is definitely all mine. Now, what I like to start with is your story. So, how did you get started in this line of work?
Well, my journey in business and sustainability began with a deep-rooted belief that agriculture can be a powerful tool for transformation, especially in communities that are often overlooked by the mainstream development. So Verager is a spin-off of Rural Women's Advancement Trust. Now, it's an organization that was established to help rural women and women former commercial farm workers after the land invasions in Zimbabwe. Yeah. So when we were trying to help them, we then decided that we focus on agriculture because the former commercial farm workers, that is all they knew. And most rural women survive on subsistence farming. So we introduced, in 2011, we introduced like 100 women to conservation agriculture, which is known as CA, but now it's the new name it's given is Pumbudza. Yeah. So we're using grass for mulching in maize growing. And then when we were mulching we were using either maize stubs or grass. But then we had a problem with termites. Now, when we were invited to a workshop in Zimbabwe on conservation agriculture, we were asked the problems we were facing. So we mentioned that, we have a problem with the termites on our mulch. Since the mulch was supposed to last 4 years without being changed, it was just lasting maybe a few months. So one of the illustrators there said, try to use live mulch. When we asked, now, what do you mean by live mulch? He says, either you use sugar beans or you use cowpeas. So then we thought, well, cowpeas is the most ideal for our women because sugar beans you have to buy and they are very expensive. But every rural woman has a small, seed of cowpeas set aside. So we introduced that as live mulch during the conservation agriculture. They were, reaping a lot of good harvests using that. But we then had excess of cowpeas. There was no market for them since it was something that we just went into by chance. There's a huge market called Mbare Musika, which took cowpeas, but it then was offering very low prices and it wasn't worth taking there. So we approached the Minister of Women's Affairs, who then gave us a trainer to train women on value addition and how to prepare meals using different recipes and combining with other food stuffs. So when we were training, we then started doing cowpea fritters. Now, one of the women couldn't quite roll the fritter into a bowl. Instead, she rolled it into a cylinder. Everybody said, a sausage. Yeah. So the trainer there, said, okay. So they rolled the sausage, continued, and they rolled it in flour and egg. They fried it in hot oil. When they ate it as a sausage, they said it was scrumptious. Then after that, they were continuously asking for training, calling their peers to say, let's train in sausage making. It's very nice. And then 3 months later, the trainer came and said to me, ma'am, you must think of going into business using cowpea to make sausages. Then I just said, oh, okay, I'll do that. But deep down, I said, she is mad. How can I, go into sausage making using cowpeas? Mm-hmm. Because cowpeas here is often looked upon as a poor man's food. Right. So it's just a fringe crop. So I never thought of going into commercialization of the crop. Then about 6 months later, after that encounter, there was an advert in the newspaper, the Daily Mail, which it had ZimDev, Zimbabwe Manpower Development, and SADC, and Botswana Innovation Hub, where they were looking for people in Zimbabwe with products that were made from indigenous crops that could be commercialized. Then I thought, oh, cowpeas. Then it was like again, well, shall I not? Then 3 days before, I then, applied the call, and I was accepted. They said, "Oh, come with your idea." We took the idea, and then they gave us funding to perfect the product. So now we had to look for proper casing, and lucky in Zimbabwe, everybody's supposed to use artificial casing when the sausage companies. So it was easy to get artificial casing. Then I found somebody who had been retrenched from a sausage making company, and we started perfecting our sausages. And then within that fund, we were also asked to look for a food scientist. Then the food scientist is one who said to me, think of making a vegetarian sausage, vegan. Then I didn't understand what he meant. Again, I just said yes, and I said, oh, he's mad. How can I make a vegetarian sausage? So we then, okay, fine, it's coming from an expert. We started making that. He told us what to do, and this is how we started with the cowpea processing. Then we registered the company, we started moving, and we started selling slowly. So Verager was founded out of desire to reimagine the potential of indigenous crops like cowpeas, not just as a food, but as a vehicle for economic empowerment for the women, climate resilience, and also gender equality. So on the sustainability, we can say sustainability wasn't just an add-on. It was the foundation, because conservation agriculture is a climate smart initiative that was being introduced in Zimbabwe then. So we leveraged on that. So from the start, we also focus on circular processing and also regenerative agriculture, because we were using manure always. And then we were focusing also on veganism and vegetarianism. Then we also we have an inclusive value chains where we were including almost everything, starting with our own seed and up to the final product. So we are not just producing cowpea-based products. We are building a system that uplifts farmers. It also reduces waste, and we nourish communities, because the women always have to consume excess and not so good crop for which we buy from them. But we also we're also building a thriving supply chain, because most of those women are now our farmers, and who have now become the base of all our raw materials. So that is sustainability in its own way. So it's a business with a purpose. That is what drives me every day. And also growing here in Zimbabwe, I witnessed both brilliance and challenges of smallholder farming, and also of the former commercial farm workers. They were no longer workers, but they were now using their experience from the former commercial farm workers from working communities and working on those commercial farms. There were systems, they knew how to irrigate, they knew when to plant and when not to plant. They could even tell you that if you see this kind of worm, it's going to do this. So all that was now, we were trying to bring it together. And since there are people who are working tirelessly, even in the hot sun, like in October, they are in the fields working, and they were really reaping the full rewards of their labor. So that stayed with me. So when I stepped into entrepreneurship, I knew I wanted to build something that honored their contributions and created real value. economically, socially, and environmentally.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. If we could rewind a little bit back to the conservation agriculture element of it, you said you initially introduced this crop as a mulch. So is that part of
Yes.
a crop cycle through the year? Is that how it works in your...
Well, it's what we conservation agriculture is when we have minimal movement of soil. So
Yeah.
we dig a hole that is supposed to hold water, especially when there's a drought.
Mhm.
Now the holes are ready. They've already put manure,
Yeah.
and as soon as the rains come, it fills that hole.
Yeah.
They put the seed, and then we use mulch in between rows
Yeah.
of the maize crop. So that mulch we usually use grass
Yeah.
because we most of the maize stocks are fed to cattle. So we were using. So once you dig that hole, it can last for the next 4 or 5 years without
Right.
you doing. If you put those who use synthetic fertilizers, once they put the fertilizer, it also stays within that hole for the next 4 years.
So do the cowpeas, do they fix nitrogen in the soil? Is that part of their purpose as well as producing a crop?
Yes, there
Yeah.
are some farmers who actually put the maize seed and the cowpea seed in the same hole so that it benefits more. But we just use them in between rows.
Yeah.
But the nitrogen still goes to the holes as well.
Fantastic. So you're producing more than one crop from the same piece of land, effectively.
Yes, we are doing that.
Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. I just wanted to unpick that a little bit because most of the listeners will be like me and not fully understand what a mulch does and things. Maybe you don't understand
Yes,
the word.
yes.
So I might ask you to give an idiot's version for idiots like me who don't know it.
Yeah, yeah.
But
What mulching really does is that if you don't have live mulch,
yeah,
it then helps to keep
yeah.
the moisture in the soils, so that it also assists the whole to and the crops do extremely well even during drought.
Right. And do you have much problem with drought in Zimbabwe in these areas you're working?
Yes, because of climate change now,
Yeah.
there are lots of droughts and seasons are changing. There's also flooding. So when it floods, the rains go.
Yeah.
So we introduced cowpeas because it's also a drought-resistant crop.
Right. So I'm just seeing multiple benefits to everything, how you've designed
Yes.
this system. And I just wanted to tease some of those out. So Verager, is that about the food product then rather than the agriculture? Is that a food company basically?
Yes, we call ourselves an agro-processing company.
Yeah.
So we can say a food manufacturing company, but it's like we say our work is inclusive. We're into inclusive copy value chains because we start with the seed up to the table to the final product.
Yeah. Yes, and you mentioned that cowpeas are sometimes looked down upon in tradition in Zimbabwe. Has that been any problem with your product? You know, is it or does it sell well? Do you get public acceptance of it?
Well, we are noticing what we are noticing now is that well, the truth is in Zimbabwe, cowpeas has always been looked down upon as a poor man's food.
Yeah,
So it's like I remember when we were growing up, somebody would say, if you were silly in class, everybody would say, "Oh, just go home and eat other, like pep,
hmm,
go eat other with cowpeas. You're being a nuisance." Um, so here, yes, with our products here, that's why my market is mainly it's now my products are niche.
yeah,
um, I find that at times when my products are on sale, like this NutriBite,
yeah,
um, it's a super taste. Huh? It's beautiful. It's scrumptious. It's more rich, once you tell, I remember when about 5 people did that. When I say, they said, "Oh, what is it?" I said, "It's cowpeas." They quickly spit and say, "Ah." So others, when you say to them, "Cowpeas," they'll say, "I hate cowpeas," but throw it there. They throw it down.
So obviously, and then again, I suppose the next question is there a market for vegetarian meat alternatives in Zimbabwe?
Yes, there
Yeah,
is. We have a lot of Catholics
yeah,
who don't eat meat on Fridays.
right.
They have 40-day Lent
Yeah,
just before, as you know, before Easter, before Good Friday. There is also a sect here of the Apostolic faith. They also have days they don't eat meat. We also have the Seventh-day Adventists. They
yeah,
are the ones who are like this to me, because our product, this is just a snack called NutriBite, which you can just put in your pocket, lunchbox. When you eat this, it's more like an energy bar. So
mhm,
we can say this is but other products that we have the cooked dry cowpeas, which is what many people, especially those religious sects, are interested in, because it's cheaper for them to just prepare this, and it saves them electricity and time to prepare, because it's pre-cooked. It's this one is salted. We've got others in this is garlic flavored, and this can also be a snack. So I'm finding that most of the products are being taken by the people from those religious groups. But we also have a big European customer base where vegans, and they are looking for snacks. So these they also snack up on, and these they also snack up on. And we've got things. I've got this new product where it's mince. It's dried mince,
mhm,
where if you want to prepare your lasagna, your cottage pies, you just prepare your sauce, throw it in, it's ready in 3 minutes.
right.
And it's very tasty as well. Then we also have the gluten-free flour, where, here we've got a lot of people who are allergic to gluten.
Yeah,
And so the way we are presenting like our products is that we are presenting them into what I would like to call globally acceptable forms of modern day consumptive methods,
yeah,
which is more or less what I have presented to you. We also do burgers, we also do sausages, and all our products are pre-cooked. And so when we present them in such a way, some people are very much accepting them. Like with the NutriBite, I blend them with exotic fruits grown in Zimbabwe. Like the blueberry is also very popular.
mhm,
Now in Zimbabwe, we've got also a lot of blueberries coming out. There's orange, which is also very popular. Then we have banana. We've got plenty of bananas. Then we've also got strawberries. We've also got a lot of strawberries, although they are now going out of season. So when I blend this, people get then fascinated. So I also get a lot of impulse buyers who are
yeah,
fascinated to say, "You made this out of cowpeas. That cowpea. So it's in Shona here it's called nyemba. So people say, "Nyemba, is this really Nyemba?" I say, "Yeah, it is Nyemba." So the people are getting excited about it. Just say 3 minutes, you can have them on your table, and these you can snack them out. Snack on them. They are salted. Yeah. So some of them are asking them to repackage them into smaller, so that they're easy to put in pockets and handbags as well.
yeah.
So yeah, people are beginning to accept them.
Yeah. I'm just interested because you've mentioned a few, reasons why people purchase them. You mentioned the religious requirements, you mentioned the gluten-free nature of them and taste. Does climate or being climate friendly, does that come into any of your marketing, or do you just market it as a tasty food product?
I market them as an alternative, an affordable
Mhm.
option to those who do not take animal protein, to those who cannot afford animal protein, to those who are looking for dietary diversification, or just the health conscious. So it's protein alternatives. So here on the pack, we put it protein alternative. A protein alternative here in Zimbabwe is usually soya or sugar beans. But now with the climate change, it's much easier to have cowpeas. So and we market them also as organically grown. So a lot of people are looking at that as well to say, and also a lot of locals, when they buy them, they say, they are so easy to grow, they are tasty, they are very nutritious. So all that comes into our marketing.
Yeah. Just thinking a bit more widely about the situation of launching a business like yours in Zimbabwe. Does the government have climate policies? Is there any government policy that helps you, or are there structural barriers in the way to producing and selling a product like this?
I can say partially, because Zimbabwe's policy environment has made important strides in recognizing the role of agriculture and agro-processing in the National Development Framework. There are frameworks that support value addition and also women's empowerment and climate-smart agriculture. They're now calling conservation agriculture Fumvudza, which means the new beginning, conscientizing everybody about climate. Climate now. Fumvudza it's like during spring, so everybody knows it. So it then caught a lot of people up on women's empowerment. We helped a lot by myself. The past 2 years, we've been trained on by the Ministry of Women's Affairs together with UNITA and the Arab Bank for African Development, BADIA, for new skills, to shift from the old skills because of climate change. What do we need? We need to have people in our companies who know the new skills. For example, we must have clean energy, renewable energy. When we are processing, we are also using this climate smart agriculture, regenerative agriculture. So all those new skills are now coming in, the use of AI, digitalizing everything. Also when we are looking now in Zimbabwe, we now have a lot of three-wheelers that are electric.
Right.
The use of electric vehicles for deliveries. So I'm just getting myself one in a few months' time, just for deliveries. So all that we have to shift. So the policy is helping us a lot in that way. About cowpea policy, it's not there yet. We have to make the government help the government to formulate the policy after our own experiences. And what we recommend, our recommendations, not just Veragers, but other, we also have the agricultural extension officers, the agricultural institutions, the universities, the research centers, all that. So we have established what we call the Cowpea Producers and Promoters Association in Zimbabwe, COPAS in short, that is advocating for a more inclusive and responsive policies that reflect on realities of all the farmers, the entrepreneurs, and climate vulnerable communities.
Yeah. I'm very interested in what you've been saying about climate vulnerability and the fact that all of this started from agriculture that was robust to climate change. It's often said in this country that we in the West have the biggest carbon footprints, so we're driving climate change, but it's the people in countries like Zimbabwe, lower income parts of the world, which will be hit by the worst effect of climate change. So I'm fascinated by the driver to produce sustainable agriculture, both in terms of reducing its own footprint, but also being robust to climate impacts.
Yeah, because if we once we realize that the West has contributed a lot, we
Yeah.
can't just sit and cry about that all the time.
Mhm.
We have to do something on our side here as well. Now, most of our people are suffering a lot of droughts.
Yeah.
So what do we do? The good thing is that we know where the root problem is, but how can we also help to solve? This is why it's good for us to collaborate between the North and South to see how best we can, if we come to you guys and say, this is the effect of climate change on our side because of 1, 2, 3 things that happened, then we should come to a common, what can we call
Yes.
common decision or common
Yes, it
or we all
will.
put concerted effort
Yeah.
to yeah.
And then the other thing I was thinking about, which you mentioned renewable energy and electric three-wheelers and things. There's a report out recently to say that wind and solar have overtaken coal in energy generation this year for the first time since people in the UK started burning coal to make electricity. But
Yes.
the big boom is in countries like Pakistan, like Nigeria. So I was wondering if you've seen rapid uptake of renewable energy in Zimbabwe.
Oh yes, very much
Yeah.
so. Almost everybody has got some solar. And one thing I would like to about 10 years ago, when I was starting this project, one of my friends, she was a golfer. She was the first Black Zimbabwean woman to
Yeah.
go into the Zimbabwean women's golf teams.
Yeah.
So she wanted to give back to the community, was going now into rural areas to look for talent. And, so she said, Maureen, I would like to come to your farm and to meet the community around you. So I helped them train. And then we started walking between the farms, and every house had a little solar
Yeah.
by the tree with a radio on, or just or for phones or something. And she loved it. She says, "Oh my God, everybody has got a little solar here."
Yeah.
Then now, even in the cities, everybody has got solar. And so it's everybody has adopted individually,
Yeah.
and now there are new solar farms feeding into other grids, but also hydro electricity here
Yeah.
is very, very still very strong, especially in the Eastern Highlands. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where there are mountains and they're using the water's coming down naturally, they are having hydroelectricity from there, which is
Yeah.
also green energy.
Yeah. I just find it fascinating that these countries we've been talking about are skipping the high carbon energy and going straight to low carbon energy. And would it?
Yeah.
Are these individual solar panels? Is that part of any government program, or are there incentives? Do you know, or is it just the economics that it's easier for somebody to put a solar panel on top of their roof than get connected to grid electricity? Do you know what the driver is for all that distributed individual solar energy?
It's both.
Right.
It started with individuals, but now we are seeing the government policy, like every clinic urban or rural, has to have solar.
Yeah.
So it's got panels, and I think Gavi was doing that a lot in helping the government to put those solar panels at
Yeah.
clinics, and a lot, even schools in rural areas
Mm.
now have solar, and also because here we were very much dependent also on Wange thermal stations that use coal. There's now a big shift in both people, private individuals and government putting up solar. Like at our houses, like at my house, we have 6 solar panels. I put them before the lithium batteries were affordable in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Use old batteries, but I managed to put 2 more with lithium batteries.
Right.
So a lot of people are putting privately.
Yes. Well, that may account for that global boom, part of that global boom as well. So it's
Yes,
fascinating to hear that.
yes.
Um, so I've taken you off topic because, but that's good to hear because, as I say, the vast majority of our guests are probably from the UK, with some Europeans and some Americans. So it's great to hear a perspective from Africa. Um, but I suppose going back to your day job, if somebody was, say, you were handing over either handing over your company to somebody else, or another entrepreneur like yourself wanted to develop a project like yours, what advice would you give them?
Well, I would say, it's difficult. It also depends with where they are. But I think in general, if we talk like here in the SADC region, we meet a lot of, at times we go to Europe or this. I always say start with a purpose.
Yeah.
Do not build businesses on just saying, I want to make a profit. Like I want to process copies to, it has to start with a purpose. And if you are building a business in agriculture or sustainability, it has to be more than profit.
Yeah.
It has to be about people, planet, and long-term impact. So I can say that clarity will guide you
Yeah.
when things get tough. And yes, they will get tough because what we are going into sustainability, it's new.
Mm.
You'll find that even some of the products that want to use in sustainability, they might not be available or affordable. So if you want, to avoid, that clarity will have to guide you always.
Hmm.
So my journey is in its 14th year, and I've lost a lot, including money, relationships, property, and I have laughed, I have smiled, I have cried tears, buckets of tears. So so if you're not if you don't start with purpose, you can easily lose it and drop it. But
Yeah.
when the tough gets going, and if everything is sustainably established with solid foundation, you will sail through.
Yeah.
You look at the buckets of tears and you just ignore them. You look at this smile first. Like to me, I would rather look at this NutriBite when people say, "Wow,
Yeah.
blueberries and all with cowpeas," rather than look at the buckets of tears. Then secondly, build relationships before you build systems.
Right.
So it's like whether it's the farmers, regulators, or consumers, because I had to now build relationships with religious groups. If I speak to them, oh yes, that's what we are looking for. We are tired of just eating the same thing. So you must, because your trust is your most valuable property
Mhm.
or currency. Listen deeply, communicate clearly, and always show up with integrity. Because if I didn't communicate clearly, people will just put me off by saying, "Oh, it's just copies. We don't eat that." I could have easily lost focus. But because I explained clearly what it is, the purpose, to say if you have just one of these bickies, individually, packed for, even if you go for days in your pocket. You eat this in the morning, have a cup of tea or a glass of water, you're going to be fine all day. So you have to clarify everything. And I can say, if you communicate clearly and always show up with integrity. Don't just show up at top of your voice, cowpeas, or if somebody just tells you off, say, oh, well, cowpeas is a woman, I don't eat that. Then you start shouting at them and, I want to repeat what Kemi said the other day. You can't, just wrestle with a pig, in the mud or something. You just laugh it off, move away, go to somebody else. So integrity is very important. Then thirdly, embrace innovation, but stay rooted. And also technology can transform agriculture, but it must also serve real needs. Then at Verager, we use AI and digital tools, but we never lose sight of the farmer in the field or the mother who is breastfeeding. So keep your solutions human-centered. We know our farmers, they are mostly women, yeah? So we can't now say when we give them an iPhone, the husband should not touch it. We make sure that the husband has to also understand what she's doing. Every time to be with the family, the lactating mother, we know maybe 3:00 she wants to go and breastfeed. If there's training, she has to be excused. Then there will be peer-to-peer training. And then finally, I can say the challenges are real. Yeah, like we are a self-financing entity. And the challenges were so big that, at times you can go for maybe 2 weeks without buying bread or buying anything because you are plowing back the profits into the business to be able to grow. So the challenges are real. And in the context of Zimbabwe, where, like I say, if you go to the bank and you want to say, can I borrow some money? A manager can laugh at you to say, you really think you're going to value add cowpeas? You really think somebody's going to buy cowpeas? So something like that. You must always be ready for these kind of challenges. But there are also opportunities. Yeah, it's a novel food. A lot of Europeans are finding it, exciting. And with our vision of making it into the next global superfood. I'm so happy that response, especially from it's a novel food in Europe. They don't know it. Americans, they know it slightly better. I haven't seen it being, value added to this stage. So it's a new thing that can be accepted. It's going to be a lot of work to explain, but the opportunity is there. So if you are trying to create change, don't wait for a perfect condition, or conditions, or time. Place. Start where you are, use what you have, and build with others. We build with our farmers who are our supply chain. We build with students, with universities who encourage us, who give us information. Even the government departments, I just go in and I say what I want to say and they listen, even if they don't respond, unless they've read what I say. And then you hear them at the time talking about it. Oh, she was like, oh, they're saying that. So build with others around you, the consumers, those who give you feedback about the, then the future belongs to those who dare to reimagine it.
Right.
Thank you.
Well, just to summarize that, I got clarity of purpose, building relationships first, integrity, which might be part of the relationships, that idea of innovate but be rooted. Challenges are real, and look for the opportunities. Don't wait for perfection. Start where you are, and then the future. I stopped writing at that point. The future's there for those who want to reimagine it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Well, those are very wise words, and I think on that basis, it just leaves me to thank you, Maureen, for joining us today. I think that's been a fascinating run through both what you do and the wider context in Zimbabwe. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you so much for interviewing me.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.